special needs class. I'm Margaret Gamble. You probably know me from special needs class with Margaret Gamble. I'm here talking to you on this video because I go first in my presentation. And so it's my job right now to give you a basic definition of what we, the communicators, kind of what they know us as, what we set out to do when we took on this project. When we chose communication disorders, we had a choice to pursue students with speech disorders or language disorders. I think you'll be interested in seeing what we picked. But wait, you say! Or actually, I hope you don't say it because I'm kind of like trying to show a video in class, so just think it, but shh. Thanks. Anyway, you're wondering maybe what the difference between speech disorders and language disorders is. Location, location, location. Speech disorders all happen, in this general area, from your neck to your mouth. Just any reason why you might not be able to produce all the phonemes that a language requires. Language disorders, however, extend to the brain, so there's processing going on. Difficulty getting meaning from language, or with the structure of language, or encoding meaning and communicating that through language. Thank you, everybody. Now, without further ado, the communicators have decided to study language disorders. Just in case I was picked, I should, write a speech. So, thank you, Mom, for teaching me that, unlike speech disorders, I am brainy. To the communicators, I want to thank you for deciding to pursue both my receptive and my expressive sides, and for putting up with me, even though, my identity and my characteristics vary from person to person, and I know that can be frustrating, but thank you. And, I want to thank the communicators for recognizing me, because I am a prevalent part of American classrooms. And when teachers don't recognize me, they don't recognize their students' full potential. And when they ignore me, they ignore their students' needs and their capabilities. So I just want to thank everyone so much. I'm so excited for this journey we're going on together. And I love you, Mom. Peace. And out. Yeah, honor to be nominated with speech disorders. Honor. Thank you, bud. I challenge anyone to watch that acceptance speech with dry eyes. Tell you it cannot be done. So, I wanted to touch on something language disorders said in her acceptance speech. Both my receptive and my expressive sides. You're going to hear people talking about receptive language and expressive language. Receptive language occurs when you're given linguistic input, either speech, text, or sign, and you extrapolate the meaning. And then expressive language is essentially the opposite process. So you start off with meaning or a thought or an emotion, and you encode the meaning into language, and you use language as a way of conveying that message to someone else so that they can understand it. The processes do combine. In order to be able to do one, you often have to rely on the other. Language ability is high stakes in all ways, across the board. It's the medium through which we receive information, and it's the tool we use to navigate our interpersonal relationships. It's really easy to assume that what you hear is what you get. With students with language disorders, they're unable to express everything that they know and understand and wonder through language. And when their language disorders are misunderstood or unrecognized, so are their abilities. And that's hard for any teacher. It's not that bad teachers ignore that. It's that it's kind of like reinventing the wheel. How do you communicate with someone who can't communicate thoroughly through language? The more our group talked about this and thought about it, the more it made me think about the question of show versus tell. And sometimes it almost feels like school is one of the places where most of the weight is put on telling and not a lot on school. And of course, on show. And of course there are places that are exceptions to this. When we were talking about this the other night, High Tech High came to mind. But for educators in general, but especially for educators of students with language disorders, I think one of the most important questions you can ask yourself is, how am I asking my students to show what they know, and how often am I asking them to tell me what they know? So I think that as we go forward and we look at the student around whom we based our lesson plans, I'd like you to keep in mind that working with a student with language disorder means always checking in with show and tell and seeing, how can we help him improve his telling ability and stand on his own 2 feet. But in the meantime, how do we give him a way to show what he does know and what he can't tell?